so we're working on the Polarpool, doing some startup and maintenance on it. Got your Polarpool here. Back over here we have the crate that it came in. It just unscrews into several sides of the roof. But you get it off the pallet. We're going to set it in the room. You're going to have ample room about around it, okay? At least a foot between the sides if you have any walls, because we want to be able to have airflow flowing around the whole thing, all right? If you come around to the side over here, and come look down on the side here, you've got a vent here, and then scoot around over here. We've got another vent here. This vent in particular has a lot of airflow coming out of it. We're going to fill it full of water, all right? And it's ready to go pretty much right off the start. So as soon as you get it unpackaged. So we're going to get it unpackaged. We're going to fill it with water. You see you have this weir that's floating right here. So we have this weir, and we filled up about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way up. And you can't see right now, but there is a little arrow right here that gives you what your fill line is. So we're going to fill it up to that spot. This is where your filter is. If you need to change the filter, full of water, you can reach in. There's a basket in here. So the basket comes straight up, does a 90-degree turn and comes out. Then we'll reach down and we'll pull a little top cap on the filter, and then the actual filter itself. So the filter goes in, little 90-degree turn, turns down, top cap goes on the filter. Then the basket, and you see the little part where you can pinch it with your fingers, that goes to the top. In, 90-degree turn, sets down, and then the door, all right? If it's cold, it gets pretty chilly on your fingers. So that's that. So we have all your chemicals. This comes with your chemicals. It also comes with a little placard for your athletes, reminding them to have a shower to keep clean before we get in. It's a small body of water, so we want to have as few contaminants as possible, so we're going to put that up. You also have an owner's manual that has all of this information in the owner's manual, so please make a point of looking through it. Some basic information I'm going to pinpoint because these are the points I'm going to give you. Like third page in, tells you go down. This is the ice, or this is the Polarpool. So Polarpool, 172 gallons lets you know that. We're going to flip 2 more pages, and a nice yellow block under startup procedures says start by adding this much salt. Go to Polarpool, 4.5 cups. So we're going to add 4.5 cups of salt into this water, and we know we're going to be good for having the salt for making the sanitizer. Then we've got another chart here and there. So everything is in here. So we can get a bucket to mix the chemical in, or mix the salt in, because the salts don't want to mix into cold water that easily. It's a bit easier just to do with warm water. So we're going to get some warm water, mix the salt in, we'll go from there. So we're going to have our bucket of water, we're going to have our dead sea salt, 4.5 cups poured into there. Grab whatever you have that's around for stirring it, something as clean as possible. This isn't the greatest, but it's most readily available right now. We're going to mix the salt into some warm water. We're going to pour that into the tub. It's going to circulate around. So once your salt's added, we want to do the readings of the rest of your chemicals. You're going to take test strips for your free chlorine. Make sure you keep the lid on when you're not using this, because you don't want to get moisture on the litmus paper. So we're going to do a little dip. And I'll just come over here and show you quick. You're just going to color match them up. So the top one is your sanitizer, middle is alkalinity, the bottom is your pH. It says right there, pH, total alkalinity, and your free chlorine. Now there's an order in which you're going to do this. Like all of these, how it says right there, ideal is between 80 and 120. We're color matched and they're pretty good. Same as our ideal for the pH. That's matched good. And then it has your ideal amount of sanitizer. So we're sitting good right now. I don't need to make any adjustments. But to explain the adjustments to you, number one, first thing you're going to check is your alkalinity. Always alkalinity first, no matter what. Alkalinity, then your pH, then your sanitizer. 1, 2, 3. Alkalinity, pH, sanitizer. Never forget that, because if you do it in a different order, you're going to pull your hair out. You're going to have a really stressful time, okay? So, for the alkalinity, you've got cold water balance, raises the alkalinity. If the alkalinity is low, put a tablespoon of cold water balance in, let it circulate, wait an hour, check again until your alkalinity has come up to where it needs to be. If the alkalinity is high, you're going to bring it down with cold water rundown. Get that set. Next one is your pH. You want to set your pH. Cold water jump raises the pH, and back to the cold water rundown lowers pH. Again, do these in teaspoon at a time. Those will get them set, and then you have your salt running, and I'll go over how to get the salt in your tub by setting the salt system. If you need immediate sanitizer in your water though, we have cold water sanitizer, which is granular chlorine. Add a teaspoon of this into the water, bang, instantly it's sanitized, you have chlorine, you can use it, okay? And then you have these other, this is the cold water clear. If the water's murky, you can give a splash of this in. It gets caught in the filter, but really, given the size of this tub, I would just drain it and refill it if the water gets in bad shape. And this one is cold water bubble remover. So if people are getting in, have some detergents on themselves, cosmetics on their skin, or detergents in their clothes, then it'll make some bubbles. You give a little shot of this. It's just a little flip top. You know, squirt, squirt, shoot an ounce in. It gets rid of the foam, so it's not foaming anymore, all right? Now, I'm going to come around to this display. We got your display panel right here. And just so you note, take a look at that cell right there. You see there's that little bulb sticking out of the footwell, and it has a mist coming out of it. That bulb right there is your saltwater cell, and it's producing sanitizer. So the salt that we added into the tub is being converted into that mist, which is putting the chlorine into the tub. So you know it's working if it's misting. Now this cell can be replaced and needs to be replaced. It's a sacrificial part, just like a filter is. Excuse me. They last about a year maximum. So within a year, guaranteed, you're going to have to change this cell. You can order new ones online at coldtub.com and go to the store section. And the way to change it, you don't have to remove the water, but you do have to take it out of the water. And we'll just unthread that. It comes up. So it's like a receptacle here. There's a little Phillips head screw. That's a set screw that's holding it. So we'll undo this set screw. There's fairways. That threads out. And the reason you have to do it out of the water is there's an electrical connection there. We don't want to get salt water on that connection. It'll corrode it and it'll quit. So make sure it's out of the water. Take your old cell when it's not misting or smoking anymore, producing sanitizer, throw it out, order a new one. Thread the new one on. Do your set screw back up. And we'll just tuck the line back into the niche and thread this back in. That's some cold water, I tell you. Woo! Okay, let's get over to the top side here. We're going to look down at the top side. Like that. So it's right in the center. So take a look at the top side. You see the display, it says 45. So that's the temperature of the water right now. We can adjust the temperature up and down by using the up and down arrows. You'll see when I put the up arrow, a little thermometer pops up in the corner there. That symbolizes the set temperature. And we can run up all the way to 104. Take a set to get there. Boom, boom, 104. And down to 42. So there's a very wide range that we can have the temperature set to. We will notice when I drop down to lower than what it was set for. We have an icon of this little snowflake right here. Okay, you'll notice we have a little icon of a snowflake right here. That lights up when the chiller is operating, and then when I turn the light on, there's an icon for the light that will turn on and then back off. And then this is for your pump, this icon right here. So if I hit the pump 1 button, jets will go into high speed. You see them going back down onto low speed. Alright, so that's pretty much all the function on those. So you're going to hit the settings button. It'll say SCTT for settings, and then the ON representing your sanitized production, it's at 3. It can go up between 24 and 0, representing hours in the day. So this will be dependent on what the usage is. If you have 20 athletes a day going into the tub, obviously you're going to be setting higher, probably around 20. If you're only going to have, say, 5 athletes a day, you might be down around 10 hours a day. So hit the button once, settings, again, ON, sets how many hours a day you're going to be producing sanitizer, therefore how much sanitizer is going to be in the water. In the morning, if you go in and there's not enough sanitizer, obviously you're going to turn it up and then check it the next day. So after the ON, I'm going to press the settings button again. FD is filter duration. That's how many hours the filter will run for. And filter frequency is how many times a day. Filter duration runs for 2 hours. I can go, it runs up to 6 hours, down to 0. I would set it, duration runs 1 hour, 2 times a day. That will be for minimal use. I hit it the 3rd time, it scrolls through the version of software, does a reset and saves everything. So you can set, again, settings for the amount of sanitizer is the ON, depending on how many hours a day it runs. And then for the pump circulating, duration 1 hour, frequency 2 times a day. Again, if you have more people, if your athletes are doing track and field, you're getting grass and sand in it, you're going to want to turn the filtration up. That's pretty much everything they're running in Adjust though. Now, it comes with a cover. Make sure you use the cover, please. It is the insulation from the top. It limits the amount of evaporation. Even though it's not hot, the water can evaporate, bring humidity up. But mainly just for costs and efficiency, use the cover, keep it on the top so that you can maintain temperature easier. If we come around the front here, you can feel there's air coming out. This vent really needs some space beside it so that the air can circulate. For your drain, this guy on the side right here is the drain. It's tucked in. You need to grab it with some pliers and pull it out. All right, so you're gonna grab that with some pliers and pull it out. It has a spot that it stops and it can circulate, and then it comes out about that far. I can unthread this. So I can thread a garden hose onto it, take this off, garden hose, close it, and it will gravity drain. I pull it out again, it stops. So that is the drain. It's a cylinder style. When it's out, it does not drain. When it's all the way in, it does not drain. This here, this is your ground fault breaker. No, sorry. Okay, this here is your ground fault plug. It has 2 buttons on it. It has a test and a reset. The test turns it off. Reset turns it back on again. All right, so test is off, reset is on. Every time you ever unplug and plug the unit back in again, you will have to press the reset button to activate the power to flow to it. Okay.